Hello everyone, it's Emmanuel Cooke. Today we will be reacting to a new video, and I hope that you guys enjoy the video.
I've been giving it a lot of thought, and I have to say honestly, I'm not going to encourage my kids to go to college. Are you? I just don't think it's worth it. I went to college for 6 years. I'm a pharmacist, so technically for me, I guess on paper it was worth it because I have a good paying job, but I also have a lot of student loan debt that I'm still paying off. And I was lucky. My education cost $250,000. And my parents were able to pay for half of that. So I got really lucky. When I graduated, I had $125,000 in student loans that I had to pay back. I have classmates who had to put the entire education on loans. I can't even fathom how they're doing, honestly. I remember when I got my first student loan check or student loan bill in the mail. I had been out of pharmacy school 6 months or something, I think is when it started. It was $1,500 a month. $1,500 a month just for student loans. I still needed a place to live and a car to drive and food to eat, right? So I ended up financing it for a longer term. I think that was a 10 or 20 year repayment. I don't know what it was, but I ended up lengthening the term to get the payments down so I could actually afford to live. And I'm still paying them off. And I've been out of pharmacy school for 13 years. And now I'm stuck. I'm working a job that honestly, most days I loathe. I feel like I've sold myself to the devil every day at work. I don't really agree with a lot of the policies. I don't agree with a lot of modern medicine. A lot of the medications that people are coming in and taking, God, it's poison. It's poison. You're being kept sick to buy the prescriptions to make the money for the big companies, and it's horseshit. Don't get me started. But I'm working in a profession that I largely disagree with, but I can't afford to work anywhere else because I have to make pharmacist money to afford to pay back my student loans while still affording to live. So yeah, I'm not going to encourage my kids to go to college. Honestly, if they have a specific career path that involves a college degree, and they're determined, and that's one thing. Nursing, you need a college degree to become a nurse. Whatever, basically the medical field. If you want to work in the medical field, obviously you need a college degree, and you're going to get a job. It's a pretty much guaranteed job placement if you have a medical degree. But you aren't getting the art history degree. You're not going to get some, my ex-husband has a political science degree, but he never did anything with it. If it's different if you want to, go into a specific field and you've got this plan, but most people are just going to college because you're expected to go to college, and then you have to pay back those loans. You're working a retail job now, paying back student loans, and for what? So you got to party for 4 years at college and have the college experience? It's not worth it. 100%, I would sooner encourage my kids to go into a trade school, become an electrician or a plumber. You'll make so much more money doing that than even being a teacher, for crying out loud. College largely is a scam. I feel like most of what our society has set up for us is a scam. Honestly, I'm getting more and more cynical by the day. But I'm now stuck working a job I pretty much hate because they got me. I owe too much. I got to keep doing it. There's no other job where I could make enough to live and still pay back my student loans. But when you're 17, 18, whatever, you see the dollar sign of what you're going to make. As a pharmacist, yeah, you make good money. But shit, that college is expensive. And I got lucky. I did it in 6 years. Because it's a doctorate program. You have to get your doctorate to be a pharmacist. And I was lucky. I was in a program where as long as I kept my grades up, I could do it in 6 years. But there were a lot of pharmacists who went to school for 8 years. I can't even imagine what those student loans look like. So anyway, I'm just saying, college is overrated, and I'm not sending my kids unless they absolutely want to go. How about you?
Hi. Never been on TikTok before, and definitely don't like sharing my opinion. But I have a hot take. The whole student loan forgiveness situation. Are we going to talk about how it really just only benefits boomers once again? When you think about it, the whole adjustment that was made to the IDR plan only affects people that have been paying loans for 10 to 20 years plus, right? Who are the only people that have been paying their student loans for 20 years plus? Let me stop you. It's boomers. This entire ideological fight, I don't know what you want to call it, about student loans was started and fueled by the millennial generation, my generation. People that were spoon-fed the American dream and were lied to after they graduated, or if they didn't graduate, because I didn't graduate. My education when I went to school was substandard. The shit I can learn online. Like, I went to school for a standard and I was not given that standard. Not to mention that even after you graduate, people in my generation or younger have a hard time finding a job in their field. So you're telling me, right? Boomers who have inherited a better economy, who have been paying their student loans for 20 plus years, get another free pass. But people like me, right, who just want maybe a tenth of what you guys had, oh, we're just gonna have to pay it back? Bitch, no. Like, I'm disgusted. And I'm disgusted more, that there's just, it's just, okay, they just get a pass and that's it. Yay, Biden 2024. I don't get it. I really don't get it. We're too depressed to do anything. We're too tired to do anything. Our actual, minds are numbed at this point, right? With the shit that's been going on. And you mean to tell me that boomers just get another pass like that? It's getting really hard to see the light at the end of the tunnel, especially with American politics. Because from my understanding, there is no one from our generation who's authentically in there, except those shining examples that we have here and there. But even then, we don't have enough. We don't have enough. And no one from my generation, from my understanding, is going to sacrifice the little bit that they have gotten to try to fix the system that we have now. Why would they? There are a lot of people out there that may have benefited, may have gotten to a level where they're comfortable, and that's fine. I'm not asking you to drop everything, because you deserve it. You deserve to have that little bit that we couldn't get. But I don't know. It's just crazy to think that our generation was really the generation that was supposed to be, quote unquote, the change, quote unquote, the anarchist, quote unquote, the revolution. And we've just been poisoned. We've been poisoned, coaxed into numbness. And we're just trotting along. And once again, we've allowed our plea, right, our plea for help to be used as a campaign promise. And even then, the campaign promise was never for us to begin with. When they blocked the forgiveness and Biden decided to say, oh, I'm going to make this fix to the IDR program, everyone wanted to say that he should take a field run. You're not going to get congratulated for fixing something that should have never been broken in the first place. You're not going to get a gold medal just because you fixed something that should have been working in the first place. I'm sorry. You don't get a pat on the back. You get a good job. Move along. So that's my rant on that. I don't know. It's disgusting. It's disgusting to see that we're just trotting along.
I have a serious question. How much student loan debt do you have, and when did you graduate, and when did you start paying your student loans? Because I graduated 3 years ago, and I've been pushing that shit back. I just started doing monthly payments, and Like, why can't schooling be free?
So I went to college in 2016, and my freshman year, I had to take out a couple of loans so I could go to school, like most people do. After that, I worked multiple jobs so I wouldn't have to take out any more loans. In fact, by my senior year, I paid for the whole thing by myself. So the loans I'm talking about are the loans from 2016. My mom, being the kind, wonderful, amazing human being that she is, took on one of those loans for me. Like, she's been paying it. And she has been paying it every single month since I took it out in 2016. Keep in mind, it is now 2023. So we're talking 7 years later. She told me as of a couple of weeks ago that she still owes the same amount of money on that loan as she did in 2016. Can't even make a dent in it. This is an adult woman with an extremely stable job and a house. Can you imagine what student loans are doing to people fresh out of college trying to find their way and struggling with the rising cost of housing? Student loans are way more predatory than you can understand at 18, but they know that, and they want to keep you down.
What are my thoughts on student loans? This person has asked me. As someone who has student loans, I don't have student loans for my undergrad. Do have student loans for my master's degree, which I recognize is a huge privilege that I don't have student loans from undergrad. And I knew I was going to have student loans going into, like, getting an MSW. And so I tried to keep them as low as possible. Generally, my thoughts on student loans are fuck that, and I hate making my payment every month, and I'm really pissed about it. Do I think it should stop you from doing what you want to do, which was the second part of the question? No. I think being realistic about the fact that, is getting $100,000 MSW degree worth it? No, not in my opinion, but, you do you. And so, there's no way that I could be a therapist without a master's degree. There was no way that I was going to be able to get a master's degree without having student loans. And so here we are. And so my goal was, how do I go to a program that I think is going to set me up for success while also keeping my loans as low as possible. But I'm real pissed about student loans, and I'm real mad that I have to pay them back. I would love for some student loan debt relief, but that's just not gonna happen. I think I have right around $40,000 in student loans, and we'll be paying that off for a while.
Recently, I saw a white personal finance influencer talking on Twitter about how canceling student loan debt isn't actually canceling it, but transferring it over to the taxpayers. And this pissed me off, and let me tell you why. Here are the percentage of students who graduate undergrad with student loan debt based on race for white, Latino, and African American. This is ridiculous. Let's look at some other numbers. So the average student loan debt is about $36,000, and the average interest rate is 5.8%, with the average payoff time period being 20 years. If you put that into a loan payment calculator, over the course of those 20 years, that student, the average student, is paying about $25,000 in interest on a $36,000 loan. And so if they cancel $10,000 or transfer it over to the taxpayers, they're just canceling interest. So if the government can't operate without profiting off of Black and brown students by making money off their education, we have a problem. And remember, our taxes are supposed to be for education. So fucking get over.
I just checked my student loans because I needed to get the information to someone, and I started with $80,000. I have been paying for 10 years. Last year, I paid $6,000 lump sum because that's really the only way to get it low. That took it down to $76,000 after I'd been paying for 9 years. The grand total is I have paid $120,000 and I still owe $76,000. I think I might be late to the game learning about this. Student loans are really messed up.
Yeah. They are really messed up. So here's what's happening here. She didn't realize that making minimum payments with a high interest rate would mean her student loan balance grows as she tries to pay it down. So she's paid down $4,000 from her original balance while having paid $120,000 total for an $80,000 loan. Y'all, this is the reality of student loan. This is why you can't just make minimum payments. This is why you shouldn't get on these income-based repayment plans where it keeps your payment nice and low as a gift to you while your student loan balance balloons and balloons and balloons. It could grow 50%, even 100% if you make these minimum payments. So you got to throw extra at it. Use the debt snowball method. Get these out of your life. Don't wait a decade or 2 decades. Take control. Be done with it forever.
I am over $100,000 in debt because of student loans. Do I think it was worth it? Do I regret my decision? Let's get into it. So I decided to become a nurse when I was 24. I went to a community college to complete all of my prerequisite classes. I paid next to nothing to complete those. Once I was done and graduated with an associate's in science with a 3.8 GPA, I started applying to nursing programs. Applied to nursing programs throughout San Diego County, through Riverside County. 2 years went by and I had still not gotten into a nursing program. Bite the bullet and take out student loans and go to a private accelerated nursing program. I went to West Coast University. This school is notorious for being really expensive. Accelerated, so you graduate with your bachelor's degree in nursing in little over 2 years. The education itself, I really don't know if it was good or bad in the grand scheme of nursing programs throughout Southern California. What I will say is that I am in debt over $100,000 because of student loans. I don't know how long it's going to take me to pay that off. In fact, it's just a distant future goal of mine. I'm not even worrying about it right now. Paying them on time, it is what it is. Do I regret it? If I knew that getting into a regular public nursing program was going to be that difficult, I would have just gone to West Coast right off the bat and saved myself those 2 years wasted. Why is it so hard to get into a nursing program? Is what I really want to know. There are so many RNs that are leaving bedside. Why would you want to make it so difficult for people to just get into nursing school? If you're thinking about going to West Coast and if you've been trying to get into a nursing program and you're having no luck, I would just say go for it. Go to a private program that you know you have a guaranteed foot in the door. If there's one thing I regret is that I didn't start sooner.
If you're going to take out student loans, make sure you know the terms. I love talking about scholarships on here, but I know a lot of people have to take out student loans, and a lot of you guys don't know what the terminology means. So I'm going to explain today what the difference is between an unsubsidized loan and a subsidized loan. These are both federal student loans from the government, but the main difference is when these loans accrue interest. For example, when you take out a subsidized loan, that means that no interest is going to accrue on top of the balance that you took out until after you get out of college. Unsubsidized student loans are going to start accruing interest as soon as you take them out, all the way through your college degree and then after until you pay it off. The government wants to make money. So because subsidized loans, they don't charge interest on, they don't really make any money from it. So that being said, they do put caps and limits on how much subsidized loans you can have. Even though unsubsidized student loans do accrue interest, the interest rates are lower than that of private student loans. Knowing these little things really helped me decide and structure how I was going to pay off my loans, and I even started paying some of my student loan interest while I was in college. Don't go in blind. Read your contracts, read the contract that has your student loan agreement in it, and make sure you understand what you're getting into and who you are expected to pay after graduation.
What should I do before borrowing a student loan? Number one, no degree is worth that amount of money. I went to the University of Connecticut. I had a good experience. I liked it. I loved my major. It was great. But the amount of money that I paid as an out-of-state student was absolutely obscene, and putting that into a loan at age 18 was wild. I don't regret it, but I wish I knew that it was absolutely not going to be worth it. Number two, your interest rate really freaking matters. I had no concept of what an interest rate was when I was 18 years old and borrowing tens of thousands of dollars to go to college. I wish I had actually sat down and done the projections to see how much my education was going to cost me, including the cost of interest on that loan. And number three, if you can make payments while in school, do it. My mom very graciously made payments on my loans that were like $25 a month while I was in school because that kind of covered the interest that was accruing. But even then, there's still a lot of interest that is accrued that I haven't been able to keep up with until now. So if you can't afford to make payments while in school, especially if it's on auto debit, so you can get that auto debit discount, definitely do it. It can lower your interest rate and it can actually help you stay ahead on the interest that accrues.
Credit Karma really fooled me. I saw that one of my accounts closed, so I was investigating it, and it was like, oh wow, like your U.S. Department of Education account balance decreased from the $28,405 you owe to $0. And I was like, oh wow, did like that forgiveness finally get passed, or like what's going on? And then it turns out that it's just because my loans were transferred from like Great Lakes or whatever to this Nelnet. So that was not cool. They really had me thinking that my $30,000 federal loans were forgiven.
If you have federal student loans, stop, pause, do not scroll. Listen to this. Okay. Okay, everyone at my office is at an HR conference today, so we're doing this in the office. If you're my employer, please just continue on. Keep scrolling. Goodbye. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Okay, if you have federal student loans and your student Department of Education service loan provider or whatever changed earlier this year. Mine, I had originally had Fed Loan, then they went to Advantage, now I have Moella. I don't know, we were at a federal student loan pause and I had private loans and they were taking all my money, whatever. Now we're all back to this paying jazz. That's not even the point. Also, Joe Biden, figure out a way to forget my student loans. Thank you, goodbye. Next up, so what this story is really about. My service loan providers changed. I was just checking my credit report 2 nights ago. I was like on Chase's app going to like look at my credit card points for travel. Instead, I went into a deep dive of my credit report. I noticed that the amount of credit I had was very wrong. It said I had 100 grand in credit when my loans are only 50 grand. Or I had $100,000 in credit used when it should only be 50 grand. I only have 50 grand in student loans left. I just paid a significant portion, all of my private loans off. So what the heck? So I went to the federal credit loan website and ran my credit report for Experian. I noticed that my loans for my federal student loans were showing double. So when the feds moved my service loan provider from one Advantage to Moella, apparently Advantage did not inform the credit reporting agencies, so I have double the student loan now on my credit report, and I'm trying to dispute it. But Experian's like, I don't have enough information. What the hell do you not have enough information about? I literally showed you. It said transferred, 0 balance. So, anyways, I am just providing this like wild, psychotic TikTok for you all to please go check your credit reports. I know it's not fun. It's scary. No one likes to check their credit report. But can you please go check it? Especially if you at one point had Advantage and your credit loans or your service provider for your federal student loans has changed. Can you check and make sure your student loans aren't double on your credit report? Because that's not cool. And if I'm just the one-off, that's great, wonderful, I will dispute it. But I want to see if I am not the only one that this has happened to, and if Advantage has screwed other people over in the federal student loan game. Yes, so that's all I have for you today. Happy holidays.
That is it for today. I appreciate you guys watching the video, and like, comment, and subscribe down below, and see you in the next video.